Hey there, hi there, ho there. We are back. Alright, so this is the Black Conservative talking about Stephen A. Smith falling for the liberal media psyop that Black conservatives are mad at the Trump cabinet selections. So this right here is Reese Waters, the Black Conservative. Stephen is another guy. He'll come on later. He plays a bunch of clips before he comes on. So when Stephen comes on, I'll let you know. This is Reese Waters. He is a liberal. I would not call him left. I call him liberal. He's a big Kamala Harris supporter, big Democrat supporter. Not like a Green Party or Left Party or anything like that.
No, just you drop your resume off on Capitol Hill, man. Just they said they gonna call you. Ain't you always talking to me about opportunity zones? How come ain't no opportunity zones on Capitol Hill, huh?
All I will say is I am not surprised that I have not been named, but that does not mean I'm not going to do other things in the future.
Have you?
Yeah, we heard that. We heard who you trying to convince? Us or you?
Him.
No, just you drop your resume off on Capitol Hill, man. Just they said they gonna call you. Is that Tim?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Tim
This
Scott.
is our first Thanksgiving together. We have lots of family in the house. I want to stop and say to everyone, God bless our country. God bless you and your family. Proverbs 18:22 says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord.
Good things
I'm
are good things.
thankful that after 31 years of praying, this Thanksgiving, I get to celebrate it with my beautiful bride. God has blessed
Is
me.
he only 31 years old?
See y'all soon.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Picasso. Fastest unicorn.
Something about Picasso's, but
Here
back
I
to
am
the
minding my
Reese Waters.
own business, laughing inside my head at the black conservatorship. Black Republicans feel left out of Trump's second term picks. As President-elect Donald Trump fills out his cabinet and chooses his closest advisors ahead of Inauguration Day, many African American leaders are asking why more black people haven't been appointed to key positions.
We got
This
HUD.
African American leader. I mean,
HUD.
that was presumptuous. I called myself a leader, but not me. You mean the people that couldn't wait to throw the DEI label on anybody who failed the brown paper bag test? We shocked they didn't appoint no black people to key positions.
All right, guys. So
All right.
we got to talk
I actually passed the brown paper bag test.
about this clear and obvious psyop from the mainstream liberal media, from ABC News, that is trying to create this narrative that somehow, some way, black people, or more specifically, black conservatives.
So this guy is the Black Conservative. Let's see, I'll shorten this up real quick. And so this is his channel, Black Conservative Perspective. So he always talks about race, right? He's a big race baiter. And you can really tell when somebody puts race in their name. Like rappers do it all the time, but rappers are rappers, they're entertainers. But if you're like a news person or like you're trying to be like a public intellectual and you put your race in your name, like I'm the Black Conservative or I'm the white liberal or I don't know, like it just normally you're like he's starting everything about his channel starts with race, right? He's the Black Conservative Perspective. So but he likes to race bait a lot, and what he's going to do is project a lot probably in this video. I haven't watched it yet, but he projects a lot in all of his videos talking about how they talk about race, and then he talks about race. So we'll let him spit.
Are regretting voting for Trump, right? This is something that the media has done, okay, since Kamala Harris lost, right? I mean, a lot of people in the media, also clowns on the internet as well too, have supported Kamala Harris, right? They supported Kamala Harris, basically humiliated themselves. Basically, they've destroyed all their credibility, backing one of the worst presidential candidates we've ever seen in the history of this country, right? So they don't really have much to talk about.
Yeah, the Democrats have been putting up some trash, man. Kamala, Joe Biden, and Hillary Clinton, all trash candidates. Joe Biden would not have won if it wasn't for COVID, but man, Kamala Harris can't answer a question. Hillary Clinton, she don't care about people. She's a crime bill, and she's all deplorables and stuff. But anyway, let's let the man talk.
Talk about after the election, okay? Because if they talk about the Democrat Party, then yeah, that's not a fun thing to talk about right now as a Democrat, okay? So what they want to do is that they want to talk about Trump, right? And they want to create this narrative that somehow, some way,
always orange man bad.
Black conservatives, well, you're already regretting voting for Trump. You're already regretting your vote, right? You're already regretting it. Even though I've asked myself, what is there to regret, right? What is there to regret? Trump is not even in office yet, okay? If anything, everything that Trump has done thus far has actually made me feel more confident in my vote. That, yeah, I voted for the right guy. I mean, look at what he's doing with Justin Trudeau in Mexico and what he's doing on the world stage. I mean, the dude has already restored American leadership on the world stage, okay? I mean, we went from a guy, Joe Biden, who quite literally is sleeping, doing meetings with
Joe.
African presidents, right? Sleeping.
With the U.S. in support of the development of the Lobito Corridor. Tanzania views the Lobito Corridor as an integral part of the broader strategy to enhance connectivity in Africa.
Yeah,
we
Joe
also
looks like he's knocked
appreciate
out.
the fact that the implementation of the project
If you're not watching, Joe Biden has his hands like he's pinching his nose
for Africa's
and he's leaning down on his hand.
Okay,
there he goes,
if
he
Trump
woke
did
up.
something like that, right? I mean, we all know that
He looked like he was knocked out.
racist. This is a sign that he does not like black people, that he feels that it's okay to disrespect black people, which, I mean, hey, I think it's fair to characterize Biden going to sleep at a table full of black leaders as disrespectful, right?
Joe Biden has been racist his entire career. He says he doesn't care about people, the whole crack stuff. Talking about, he said they don't know how to raise their children, talking about black people. Like, look at that whole radio thing. I'll put that at the end of this.
I mean, to say the least. But, you know, hey, who's surprised here? Who can be surprised when this is the same dude that said, well, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, right? I'm just saying. But Trump, again, is displaying actual leadership, okay, on the world stage. He's not in the White House yet. I think he's done a solid job thus far, right? There's not really much for me to regret, right? That's the whole point that I'm making here. There's not much for me to regret. But yet, again, you have a class of race hustlers and clowns out there that really want to put out this narrative that black people, that black conservatives.
He's talking about race hustlers. He is the biggest race hustler I've ever listened to. He's
not even in office yet, which is, again, just extremely silly thing to say, right? And Stephen A. is one of these individuals that is falling for this psyop. And I want to react to his coverage of this article in which ABC interviewed like half a dozen, aka 6, right? Six so-called black conservatives, black Republicans that have some issues with Trump's cabinet picks, right? Because they feel left out, okay? Take a look.
Where ABC News is reporting black conservatives are feeling left out based on appointments and nominations for his upcoming term. Last month, Trump appointed Scott Turner, who was executive director of the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council during Trump's first term, to serve as secretary of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. One area of frustration for many black Republicans was speculation that if Trump did nominate an African American to his administration, it would be at HUD, the department that has had the most black secretary appointments of any. At the time of this taping, 53 Trump nominees have been reported. One is black. That's it. And a total of 5 are people of color. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Trump proclaims to be cool with the brothers and fellas and what have you, and but when it's time to appoint people to positions of power, folks are choosing folks they're accustomed to, who look like them, share their cultural identity, things of that nature. You're expecting me to be overly critical of Trump about this. I'm not.
Nah.
The fact of the matter is that folks lost the right to complain. Folks lost the right to complain.
When is this?
Even the black conservatives.
There you go.
Because if you're a black conservative, now remember, we're not talking about truth for a second. We're talking perception. If you are a black conservative and you heard about Project 2025 and you're looking at the Supreme Court and folks who've been placed on the Supreme Court and some of the decisions that they have made, against things like affirmative action and institutions of higher learning and, of course, Roe v. Wade and other things. If you want to point to all of these things, you kind of knew this stuff was coming. See, in the end, at some point in time, we got to grow up and recognize the fact that Donald Trump, as much as folks want to accuse him of being a pathological liar, there are some things he was flat out open and honest about. That's what he's going. That is about him doing what he wants to do, when he wants to do, for whomever he wants to do it to, and everybody else be damned. And that is what is taking place right now. Now, if you're a black conservative like a Tim Scott, you're a black conservative like a Byron Donald, you're a black conservative like the Larry Elders of the world or various others, I can get where you're coming from. But I haven't heard anything from them. And very intelligent, very capable. I'm not making these recommendations. I'm simply pointing out that if you're Donald Trump, there's certainly people from the African American community that you could have looked towards to include in your cabinet. So why are you not doing it? That's a question for Donald Trump to answer. That's a question for folks in his administration to answer. And if you are a black conservative, you definitely have the right to ask him that question. You definitely have the right to ask him, what about us?
Yeah, except there are no black conservatives asking that silly question, because black conservatives don't give a damn about things like that, right? Black conservatives don't care about race. What black conservatives actually care about is whether or not the job gets done, right? I know it's a very, very, very difficult concept for...
This is a black conservative who put black in the name Black Conservative in his channel, the Black Conservative Perspective. If you don't care about race, why would you put black in your perspective? But let's go to this video real quick that I had of Joe Biden. So they were talking about Joe Biden being racist. Joe Biden is very racist. Let's
During
see
the
this.
third Democratic primary debate on ABC News, Joe Biden may have had the record scratch moment of the night. The former vice president was asked to clarify comments he made in 1975 on reparations and how Americans can repair the legacy of slavery in the country. While Biden's answer didn't include the word slavery or reparations, he did speak about institutional segregation, and at one point suggested social workers help parents raise their children, before saying,
"It's not that they don't want to help, they don't know quite what to do."
So right here, when he said they don't know quite what to do, he's talking about black parents. He's specifically talking. I'll see if I can find the question. Don't know quite what to do.
Play the radio. Make sure the television. Make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
It was that suggestion.
He went play the radio to the record player. He went backwards in thought, really. So let me see if they got one that shows the question before Joe that tells confused debate to visit the phone number, record player's words, asks about race, Biden rambles about record players and words. So I haven't looked at this in a minute. This is Kyle
Contractors will soon be asking for their 1099. Don't keep the...
All right, so this is one of the worst debate fails of all time. It's up there with Rick Perry when he was like, and the three departments I'm going to eliminate in the government are FDA, one other, and I forgot. This is right up there with that legendary moment.
This is Kyle Kalinske on the
left.
left.
Asked a question
I'm going to let it play a
racial
little
issues,
bit. Let's watch him on the left.
And he goes off in this rambling tirade, and he winds up bringing up record players and words, and you know what? Enough with the intro. Just take a look at the clip.
Mr. Vice President, I want to come to you and talk to you about inequality in schools and race. In a conversation about how to deal with segregation in schools back in 1975, you told a reporter, "I don't feel responsible for the sins of my father and grandfather. I feel responsible for what the situation is today, for the sins of my own generation, and I'll be damned if I feel responsible to pay for what happened 300 years ago."
Oh my gosh, even at this point, he has big sins. That crime bill. I don't want to keep pushing on it, but man, he said he has no empathy. He doesn't care how you got there. It doesn't matter. Are you serious?
You said that some 40 years ago. But as you stand here tonight, what responsibility...
In 2020, he said he had no empathy for millennials. he still doesn't care. And look at this smarmy looking half smile.
Do you think that Americans need to take to repair the legacy of slavery in our country?
Well, they have to deal with look, there is institutional segregation in this country. And from the time I got involved, I started dealing with that. Redlining, banks, making sure that we are in a position where,
working with Strom
talk about education. I propose that what we take is those very poor schools, the Title I schools, triple the amount of money we spend from 15 to 45 billion a year. Give every single teacher a raise to the equal raise of getting out the $60,000 level. Number two, make sure that we bring into the help the teachers deal with the problems that come from home. The problems that come from home, we have one school psychologist for every 1,500 kids.
How are we going to help the teachers? Are we going to pay them more? If we made teachers one of the highest paid professions that there is, say you had high qualifications to become a teacher, the highest qualifications, like the MBA or some stuff, but in mental style. But you paid them $1 million a year, or say $200,000 a year at least. Regular teachers, third grade teachers, public teachers got paid $500,000 a year, but you had to pass a certain qualification, right? Our kids would be smart.
Joe Biden, you'll see here, he's
responsible for the sins of my father and grandfather. You said that some 40 years ago. Americans need to take to repair the legacy
in this country. And from the time I got involved, I started dealing with that. Redlining, banks, making sure that we are in a position where, look, we talk about education. I propose that what we take is those very poor schools, the Title I schools, triple the amount of money we spend from 15 to 45 billion a year. Give every single teacher a raise to the equal raise of getting out the $60,000 level. Number two, make sure that we bring into the help the teachers deal with the problems that come from home. The problems that come from home, we have one school psychologist for every 1,500 kids in America today. It's crazy. The teachers are retired. I'm married to a teacher.
Counselors.
My deceased wife is a teacher.
More counselors, but better counselors. When I was in high school, I was never told, like, I was really good at math and science. Like, I could have just got a math degree, right? Like, oh, you don't know what you want to do, just go get a math degree. And if you don't know what to do, just go teach for a little while, then do something else or whatever. Like, they don't, like, I work with kids now, and I ask them, what do you like and what are you good at? And whatever you're good at, okay, work on that. What do you like? Work on that. So if you get lucky and you can get paid on doing what you like, great. But if you do what you're good at and you don't get paid on what you like, if you get paid on what you're good at, you might get paid a little bit more and then get paid at what you're good at and then do what you like. And I break stuff down like that with the kids I work with, because I work with all kinds of kids, all ages, from even before school to after school. But anyway, I digress. Back to Joe Biden, who doesn't care about kids. I care about kids.
They have every problem coming to them. We have to make sure that every single child does in fact have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare, school. We bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help, they don't know quite what to do. Play the radio, make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone, make sure the kids hear words.
This is the second most toxic.
So, again, they don't know what to do. Why don't they know what to do? Most people know what to do for their kids. It's their kids. They know what they want, but they don't have the access to do certain things. And so the whole Joe Biden thing was from this video. Joe Biden being racist. Joe Biden is definitely a racist. Talking about black people don't know what to do to raise their kids. Then, play the radio and all that, whatever. Like, and I mean, it's not a bad idea to let your kids listen to the radio or certain things, or even use your cell phones if you teach them how to do it right. Like, there's Crash Course Kids, Sid the Science Kid, Octonauts. There's all kinds of great stuff that kids can look at. Khan Academy, that kids can look at and get education and get information from. But if they're just playing games and never, like, Lightbot is a game that teaches you how to code, right? So you can play games that teach you how to code. I always ask the kids, what game are you playing? Oh, I play this game with Minecraft, this and that, whatever. Okay, what other games do you play? Do you play any games that help your mind, that help you move forward in life like that? Like, if you want to play Minecraft, cool. play another game that teaches you how to learn how to make a Minecraft game so that you can do something when you're grown.
Smooth-brained black liberals and race hustlers to understand, right? Which is that, hey, you know, there are people in this country that
and so
do
you
not
see how he picks out race a lot. Smooth-brained black liberals, like right there, like he talks about them being race hustlers. You are a race hustler. That is a black conservative. You don't, not just because you're conservative, but you throw black in your name. If you throw your race in your name, you're probably a race hustler.
Representation, right? Whether or not
you are
is in a
representation
position of power that looks like me, right? That I can see myself in.
So he's trying to be the guy who doesn't look like them in the conservatives, right? He's the outside representation. He's the Candace Owens. He's the Stephen. He's the Sambo, right? Like he's the guy. I have a black friend, and he's sitting there raising his hand, like, yes, I'm the black friend.
We don't care about that, right? All we care about is Trump gonna.
You're the one bringing it up.
That he claimed that he was going to do, right? And all I'm saying is that all indications leading up to now have indicated that Trump is going to do the things that he promised he was going to do. Like, for example, we talk about mass deportations, right? Specifically criminals. Him making Tom Homan the board.
I could say right now, somebody could come up to this man and tell him he looks like a Dominican. Let me see your ID.
Was him basically said, I am dead serious about conducting mass deportations, which is something that a lot of black people that voted for Trump voted for, okay? And justifiably so, in my opinion. I personally believe that illegal immigration should have been one of the biggest issues that black people were voting on in the election, right?
So we just did a video earlier talking about Trump wanting to make Canada and Mexico states. If we made Canada and Mexico states, how many illegal or people from South America are in Mexico right now that want to get to America? But again, if you watch my video that I said, yes, let's make Mexico part of the U.S., I'm down with it. I want to make everybody part of the same thing until we are the united people of Earth. So yes, let's make Mexico part of the U.S., then let's make Central America part of the U.S., and South America part of the U.S., Canada too, and then move on to we're all just part of Earth.
Right? And Trump has made picks suggesting that he's dead serious about trying to solve the border issue. So again, what is there to regret? What is there to regret? Oh, he has one black person in the cabinet, Scott Turner, which, I mean, hey, I would make the argument that he actually has at least two other black people in the cabinet, right? I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy and Kash Patel. I'm just saying. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if Kamala Harris is black, okay, which she's clearly Indian, then maybe I can count Kash Patel and Vivek as black too, right? I mean, just change Kash's first name to Kush, and you got a black dude, okay? So, all
right, so this is kind of how I think when I be watching these stuffs. I've watched a lot of different things that just make me think back and forth of whatnot. Here we go. This is going to be a short. He's talking about pledging.
When I was a young man growing up in New York City,
this is Jack Fresco.
I refused to pledge allegiance to the flag. Of course, I was sent to the principal's office, and he asked me, "Why don't you want to pledge allegiance? Everybody does." I said, "Everybody once believed the earth was flat, but that doesn't make it so." I explained that America owed everything it has to other cultures and other nations, and that I would rather pledge allegiance to the earth and everyone on it. Needless to say, it wasn't long before I left school entirely, and I set up a lab in my bedroom. There I began to learn about science and nature. I realized then that the universe is governed by laws, and that the human being, along with society itself, was not exempt from these laws.
Okay, so a lot of these people like to separate stuff. Like I was saying, man, like Mexico, Canada, let's bring them in. Let's bring them all in.
I'm just saying, all jokes aside, it's just funny how when Trump initially started to choose his cabinet, right? It went from, well, Trump's cabinet is too white. It's not diverse enough. Trump starts to put Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, gays in the cabinet, right? And they say, whoa, there's not any black people in the cabinet, right? Then Trump picks Scott Turner
for HUD,
the Housing and Urban Development, which
we get HUD,
one of those black jobs. And on the Democrats and Republicans, hey, that's the black job, right? Because, I mean, it mainly deals with housing and urban development, which disproportionately impacts black people. Democrat or Republican, they're putting a black person in charge of it, right? And I guarantee you, if they didn't do that, right, they'd be criticized as racist. That should be a black person that's in charge of that, right? Because that disproportionately affects black people.
There you go. You can't win either way.
Damned if you don't, right? If you put a black person in charge of HUD, they're going to complain. If you don't, they're going to complain, right? So,
but what if you put black people in charge of other things and somebody else in charge of HUD? Like, they're complaining that there's not enough black people, but black people always get HUD. If you always get that one thing, this your token job, like, we don't want to be tokens.
Be the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Now the criticism,
most of us don't want to be tokens.
Blacks,
at least some of us don't.
There are not enough blacks in Trump's administration. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, why does it matter? Right? Like, in all seriousness,
why does representation matter?
We just went through the last 4 years of the Biden administration, which was composed of the diversity.
Joe Biden is like brain dead, and he is not a representative of anybody. Jones Plantation. Go back to the Jones Plantation. None of these two choices, Trump or Joe Biden, Trump or Kamala Harris, Trump or Hillary Clinton, they're not choices. They're the same person. It does not matter.
Cabinet freak show, right? And look at the results.
People want to talk about how racist Joe Biden is. I just showed you, or not Joe Biden, Trump is. I just showed you Joe Biden being racist. They're all the same. Hillary Clinton, look at the 80s crime bill. She don't care about your people. She said it straight out loud.
Look at the results. The results were disastrous for this country. So clearly, diversity in your cabinet, what they define as diversity, because I think that Trump's cabinet is very diverse, right? It is ideologically diverse, which I think matters more than racial diversity, right? Which again is something that these people, they don't seem to acknowledge is important, right? Ideological diversity. Okay, but anyways, clearly you can see from the Biden administration,
ideological diversity is very important.
Called racial diversity did not lead to success, at least not in the eyes of the American people. So if you are a voter, why should you care about racial diversity in the Trump cabinet when the reason why Trump got voted in the first place is because people were dissatisfied with the results of Biden's cabinet, right? Of his administration.
That's why I burnt all.
So, I mean, racial diversity is maybe not always good, but probably pretty much close to always good. But you don't want to do ideological or racial diversity over ideological diversity. You want more diversity of thought than you would want diversity of color. That is true. But with diversity of color and ethnicities, you're going to get diversity of thought. Like, I live in Hawaii, like I keep saying in my videos, there's people from all over the world here. Hawaii is far different than any other state I've ever been to. I could only imagine that Alaska is similar, and Florida a little bit. I've been to California some and not a lot, so I don't know much about California and how they are, like, only from the news. But like places I've been, California or Hawaii is far different than anywhere else in America. When I first moved here, and it took me a while to feel safe because I've never felt safe since I've been an adult in the U.S. But once I was here for a while and I felt safe, I used to tell people I was a U.S. refugee in Hawaii because I knew the cops were going to kill me by the time I was 30. I moved out here when I was like 24 or 5, and after a few years being here, I got comfortable and knew I was going to live past 30. But it took a while. It took me being out here, and I'm almost 100% positive that if I didn't live here, that I would have been killed.
Rationally and not emotionally, okay, who don't see the world through the lenses of race, are saying, well, if Trump is picking the people...
He's going to say people who don't see the world through the lenses of race, and his name is the Black Conservative. Let that sink in. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
That he feels are best qualified to accomplish his agenda and what the American people voted for, that's the only thing that matters. If Trump's cabinet was all black, And he says, hey, I feel like all these people are the most qualified to...
If Trump's cabinet was all black, you would know that they were the best qualified ever to be in that cabinet, because you would never do that. No one, not even a black person, would ever do that. But if you did, if someone did, they would have earned it for show. Now, if his cabinet was all white, if Barack Obama's cabinet was all white, and back when the cabinets probably even Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan were all white, no one questioned it, did they? But now that you got DEI and then no DEI and what is it, affirmative action and now no affirmative action, it was all white before that, and it took a lot of questions before we got to get our in. But when you have a society that's set up for only a certain people, you got to make some laws, you got to make some rules to break up the good old boy situation going on, right? They're not letting us in. You gotta force our way in.
Carry out my agenda, what I want to do, okay? I would say, okay, cool. If they were all Asian, and he made that same argument, okay, cool. If they were all white, okay, cool, right? I personally do not care.
Again, my name is the Black Conservative. I don't care about race.
About this, right? I don't think any black...
When it comes to anybody else, when it comes to anything else, I don't care about race. When it comes to me, I'm going to call myself the Black Conservative. What the are you talking about?
Black conservatives care about this. I don't think any conservatives care about this. And what I find to be fascinating is that they only do this with black folks. They don't do this with Latinos. And here's the thing. Latinos voted for Trump more than black people did, right? The crazy thing is that they expect Trump to do all these things for black folks, right? But yet black people, as a demographic, were the ones that were least supportive of Trump, right?
And so that's true. And you got all these liberals talking about black men and black whatever didn't do the thing to help Kamala win and this and that. Like, black men might have voted more for Trump this time than they did last time, but they still voted for Kamala Harris. Like, it was 86% or something like that. Like, you can't expect to get, you really shouldn't expect more than 60% of the vote from anywhere, maybe 70%, but if you're like expecting over 80% of the vote from a demographic, that's some, you shouldn't expect that. Like, no demographic should be that monolithic.
Ain't it funny how that works? Trump only gets what, 10 to 15% of the black vote, but yet these people think that they can make demands. You didn't vote for the guy, right? You didn't vote for him. How can you make demands? You didn't vote for him. You didn't support.
All American citizens should be able to make demands or requests, whatever. But Trump, I don't know if I posted it or not, but there was an interview I seen him where he was saying that even the people that didn't vote for me, I'm gonna treat them like the people that did. So, you know, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be as a president.
Support him.
It's supposed to be for all the American people.
If anything, if you talk about racial demographics that should be making some demands of Trump, right, in regards to representation, whites, Latinos, hell, I even throw Asians in there, right? Who I think vote at a higher clip than blacks. Black people, let's keep it 100. Black people are in no room whatsoever, no position whatsoever to demand.
The Democratic Party does not care about us. And he's saying right here, he's the Black Conservative, telling you the Republicans ain't gonna do nothing for you. Let's go green. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, but let's go green.
Any type of representation from Trump. Let's keep it 100. Because in 2020,
why would he represent you? Trump.
Who did black people vote for? They voted for Biden.
They should have voted green.
After what? After Trump gave them a great economy,
you messed up on COVID bad.
Opportunity zones, the First Step Act, HBC.
Trump rode Obama's economy. The economy had been going up for, what was it, like, so that's what it always is. It's crazy, the 2008 crash. George Bush, after being in 8 years, crashed the economy. Obama got in 2008. He won in 2008, got in 2009. It took him, like, I think it was 2, maybe 3 years. I don't want to say fix the economy because you can't fix capitalism. It's going to crash again. So he got the economy going right again, going up, which is what Democrats kind of do. He got it going up for, I think it was like a 5 to 7 years straight on. in concession or whatever. Then Trump gets in his first 2-3 years, it's going straight up. But on par with what Obama set up, right? And like, that's fine, keep it going, don't mess it up. But then came COVID and he messed it up. So then Biden came in. I don't want to, again, capitalism can't be fixed, right? So Biden kind of rights the ship, and then here we go. Trump's going to come back in, and is he going to mess it up again? We'll see. Oh, he only has 4 years this time.
Trump did a whole lot of pandering to the black community, right?
Pander.
He did a whole lot for black folks. Okay, if anything, I would say Trump did more for black folks during his first presidency than any president that you can think of since, I don't know, the civil rights era. To be honest with you.
Well, if you say the civil rights era, I thought he was going to go longer back, right? Because the civil rights era, they did do some stuff that they haven't been doing since. But yes, Ronald Reagan didn't do nothing for us. Bill Clinton put us in jail. What was after Bill Clinton? Was it Obama? No, Bush. Bush did do nothing for us. Obama just lied to us. He didn't do nothing for us. Yeah, so, I mean, when you set the bar so low as to U.S. presidents, it's easy to clear that bar. Like, you're like, oh, you didn't mass deport people, or oh, you didn't mass kill people, or you didn't do the crime bill, you didn't do this evil stuff. It's such a low bar.
And how is he rewarded? These same black, they turn around, they voted for Biden. They voted for Biden. He only got, what, 10% of black vote?
Don't
so
vote
I
for
just
Biden.
find this whole conversation about the alleged regret out there for black conservatives to be hilarious, because black conservatives are smart enough to realize that that's not what actually matters, right? It doesn't matter if there are a bunch of black people in Trump's cabinet.
Ever.
That doesn't have a damn thing to do with the outcome, right? Under Trump's first administration, I would argue that that was probably the best time in this country's history to be black. Let's keep it 100. Black people ain't never had it better in this country than under Trump.
But to be honest, black people have never had it better than the present. It doesn't matter who's president, because it's, if you look back, it was worse. It's only getting better. Like, it can only get better. Like, DeSantis and them and Trump, now, they actually are trying to take it back, right? Trying to change education, trying to change certain laws and things like that. But you can't, like, obviously before Lincoln, we were slaves, right? So all them presidents and all that stuff was worse. From Lincoln to, the 60s or 70s, we had Jim Crow. 60s and 70s, we had the civil rights movement, which, it wasn't fun for blacks. We had to fight for it. My Aunt Junie was in there. She had to help segregate schools. She hated it. Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X got killed, right? They got wives and kids and stuff, and they had to go through that, and they got congregations and people, and they had to go through that, right? So you got the movement in 1980s and stuff, and you got the whole BLM stuff recently, right? So it's getting better slowly, but like it's always better now because it was so bad then. Like, when you compared to the history of America, it was terrible for blacks for at least up until the 70s, you got to admit, and it still hasn't been that great for us since.
And hopefully, black people get the same results in his second administration. Why? Because Trump's policies hopefully will benefit the country as a whole. Everybody in this country will benefit, and if everybody's benefiting, then black people are benefiting. It's really that simple.
Black people are part of everybody. Yes, that is true.
Conservatives are actually concerned about. That is what normal people are concerned about, to be honest with you. The only people concerned about the whole diversity in the cabinet thing are the race hustlers who are upset that Kamala lost in the liberal media.
The
right?
people with the race in their name, their color in their name.
So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that stuff on my channel. Go to the Black Conservative channel, check him out. Like, share, subscribe his channel. Like, it's good to know all perspectives, right? That's what we're all about here across the spectrum. Find out what you don't know. Find out what the other people are talking about. We need to be able to talk across the aisle, across the spectrum, left and right. Some of the best people I talk to are libertarians, but they're like the ones who really believe. The center's hard. The center is a little harder to get on the same page with, because they're kind of wishy-washy, right? They go back and forth. But when you stand on morals, when you care about people more than you care about money, then we could talk about some stuff. All right, so it's nap time. I will see you guys later.